Hello, folks. Today, I'm going to be talking about Fighter Pack 3 in Injustice 2. Now, a lot of people, it's getting really close to the reveal. The trailer is coming out on the 10th. And so, just because, I wanted to make this video right beforehand, I wanted to put this out right at the exact time where the hype is the biggest for Fighter Pack 3. I wanted to talk about my top 5 picks for the Fighter Pack 3 surprise character. Now, before we get into the surprise character pick, I wanted to quickly address the fact that most people think the girl character is going to be Enchantress. Now, the reason we think that is because the silhouette looks exactly like Enchantress, and the fact that she is somewhat of a relevant character. And I do agree that the silhouette looks 100% like Enchantress, no doubt about it. And it seems like it would make sense in some case for her to be in this game because of her most recent relevancy. But I'm going to say right here and now, and another thing is that characters like the Atom had his silhouette that he was shrunken, and so everyone said, okay, that's the Atom, and then it was the Atom. Raiden, his silhouette looked exactly like Raiden, and it was Raiden, and then Black Mana looked like Black Mana, and it was Black Mana. So I'm gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if it's Enchantress, but I feel like that's just way too predictable, and considering that this is the last fighter pack, I don't want predictability. I don't want the last big reveal of Injustice 2 to just be, oh, we saw that coming. Okay, well, that's it. So, right there, so I think Enchantress is probably the most likely, but she is not in my top 5 for the surprise character. Now, before I tell you all the characters I think it's going to be, there are 2 things that Ed Boon said. First, let me remind you, is that this is a surprise character. So this isn't going to be a character that's highly anticipated. This is going to be a character that people go like, whoa, I didn't expect that character. And while a few people on my list are these highly anticipated characters, that's purely because I really just can't think of anyone else that would fit in the game that great besides the characters that I've picked. Also, another thing is that Ed Boon said the remaining characters is 1 male and 1 female. So we can go ahead and say, okay, so Enchantress is the female, and likely, but I do have some characters on this list that are, or I have 1 character on this list that is female, or 2 characters. Alright, with that being said, I'm going to get right into my top 5. So that my number 5 pick is Talia al Ghul. And also, I switched that up with a Ra's al Ghul Premier skin. And so Talia al Ghul would likely use a sword and knives. And obviously, Talia and Ra's have superior fighting techniques above many other characters in the game. Basically on the same level as Batman. Maybe a little bit better, but on a similar level to characters such as Batman. And so Ra's al Ghul I actually put as my number 1 most anticipated character for Injustice 2, and we didn't even get him. But in this I'm thinking maybe the female is Talia al Ghul with a Ra's al Ghul Premier skin, and I think that would be pretty awesome. This would be a character that has a lot of awesome fighting techniques using a sword and knives, and I think it would be a fun character to play as. But also I want to tag on to this number 5 slot the character Katana, not Kitana from Mortal Kombat, but Katana from Suicide Squad. I also think that this character would be awesome. Now, she would be using a sword for basically all of her attacks, just like Robin, and just like, I guess, Azrael would. He's not on my list. But if Azrael is this character, he would be using a sword, and that's just like Robin. And so that's why for Katana I think would be awesome, but it's just another sword character, and I can't really see another sword character at this point. So that's why I put all 3 of these in 1 slot, because all 3 are sword characters. And that's my number 5 slot. So moving on to my number 4 slot for most surprising character is a Marvel character. Now, that's kind of the name of this slot. I have 3 characters who I think would be the most likely should it be a Marvel character. And that is Wolverine, Darkclaw, and Deadpool. I've already made videos on this, so I'm not going to go too into it. But Wolverine, Darkclaw, and Deadpool, all owned by 20th Century Fox, who let Alien appear in Mortal Kombat. So for this, if you don't know who Darkclaw is a Wolverine and Batman hybrid character named Logan Wayne. And so since this character is already an existing character, why not put him into the game? And for the big surprise reveal, have Wolverine, a technically Marvel character, appear in this game. But now I move over to Deadpool, who fits the... Oh, and if I didn't mention, this character also has to have a playstyle that we've never seen before in a fighting game. And none of the characters I've talked about really fit this description. Wolverine, he would probably play similar to Freddy Krueger in Mortal Kombat 9. So we've seen this before. So it's almost like Wolverine and Darkclaw. It's almost like they're out at this point. Just because I can't think of anything that we've never seen in a fighting game before from these characters. But here it is, though. Deadpool is one of 2 characters on this list that provide a moveset that I don't think has ever been featured in a fighting game in history. Deadpool is a character that would interact with the surrounding on the TV. So the health bar, the ticking clock, the bars. I think his special ability would be to interact with parts of the TV and, maybe to play around with the fact that, it's just this is a video game. And he would be able to interact with things no other character is capable of interacting with. And the possibilities for that is endless. There are endless possibilities for things Deadpool can do if they go with that mindset, that the screen that we're looking at is something that Deadpool can mess with during any fight. And so the possibilities on that are endless, and I don't think we've ever seen a fight style like that before. And so, yeah, so that's number 4. I don't think a Marvel character is likely, but the thing is, I do think it would be really surprising, and I think all this, Deadpool specifically, fits Ed Boon's description, like, to the T, but the fact that, Marvel in a DC game, I really just don't think they would do that. It would be surprising, but I just don't think it would be possible to have a Marvel character appear in a DC fighting game. But you never know. That's why this would be my number 1 character, in my opinion. But there are 3 other characters that I think are far more likely to appear on a just more likely to appear level. So we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3 is the character Spawn. You've been seeing tons about Spawn. Everybody's talking about Spawn. So I'm going to make it quick. I don't know much about Spawn, but from the looks of it, he seems to be a very brutal character. And yeah, he has hellish abilities, probably quite gruesome. And thing is that Ed Boon seems to be a big Spawn fan. So here's what I think. I don't think Spawn is going to appear in Injustice 2. I think he's going to appear in the next Mortal Kombat. I think that would be a much better fit for Spawn, but should they not want to put Spawn in that game, then they're going to put him in this game. And at the moment, he seems to be a pretty likely candidate for this character. But the thing is that this character isn't that surprising. There's nothing really that surprising about Spawn. Everyone wants Spawn. If they put him in the game, everyone's reaction would be, "Oh yeah, great, it's Spawn." They wouldn't go, "What?" Or maybe some would, but nobody's going to be surprised if Spawn is in the game because everybody thinks he's going to be in the game. That's why my number 1 would have been Deadpool or Wolverine, because you didn't see that coming. And also the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I did a video on that as another group of characters that we wouldn't have seen coming. But the fact is, for them, and why they're not on this list, is just that I don't think a lot of DC fans are also Ninja Turtle fans. as Ninja Turtles is kind of a kid thing. So I don't know how many adults would go like, oh my god, the Ninja Turtles fighting Batman. You know, I don't know how many of those people there would be. So that's why they're not on the list. Anyway, so I think Spawn would be a cool character. I think he is highly likely to appear. If he does not appear in Injustice 2, then he is 100% without a doubt in the next Mortal Kombat. Without a doubt in the next Mortal Kombat. But very likely for this game. So we're going to move on to number 2. And another character that I do not want, but seems extremely likely. And this character is based on a lot of evidence, as is my number 1 spot. And kind of as I'm going down the list, this list isn't... I want to make something clear. This list isn't who I want the most. This list is what character is the most likely based on what evidence we have. Number 5 and 4 have 0 evidence at all for them being in this game. But Spawn and this character, Rorschach has a lot of evidence in Injustice 2. In the game, not outside. He's not a related character like outside the comics. He has evidence in this game, as does number 1. Quite a bit of evidence. So let's start out with some of this evidence. First of all, he's a Watchmen character. I'm going to make this really quick. He's a Watchmen character. DC Comics and Watchmen has an upcoming crossover coming out quite soon. It would overlap with the reveal of Fighter Pack 3 basically on the dot. So that right there seems to be just enough. Put Rorschach in the game, promote what's happening in the comics, but it doesn't stop there. The Joker has, I forget what it's called, he has something called the Rorschach test. And basically what it is what a Rorschach is, it's like the ink, things where you look at it and you say what you see, and it's basically a psychological test kind of thing. And so the fact that they have put that in the game is an obvious reference to the character Rorschach, but it does not end there. I saw a piece of evidence from a person, and I'm going to botch this whole entire information. Thing is, I don't remember where I saw it, and I don't remember the exact details. But basically, the Watchmen is pretty much based on this group of DC characters. And basically, and in Injustice 2, I think it was Robin has this gear where it's like a yellow jacket. And it seems to be a reference to the group of characters that are the original inspiration for the creation of the Watchmen. And for that seems, once I read that, I said, okay, there's speculation, and then there is just fact that Rorschach and the Watchmen are referenced quite a bit in this game, and the real world crossovers make this character very, very likely. So that's why Rorschach is now number 2, and the only character who I think... Oh, the big thing for Rorschach, though, is that he has nothing interesting playstyle-wise to bring to this game. Unless he does something like tag in and out with Watchmen characters, which is the same theory I had for the Ninja Turtles. Maybe the character could be all the Ninja Turtles, and in the fight, you play as all Ninja Turtles swapping in and out, and that is the fight. Now, that's something I don't think we've ever seen before, but I think we may have seen that before in other fighting games, and therefore that doesn't bring anything for Rorschach. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any supernatural abilities. He just has peak, physical condition, similar to characters like Catwoman and Black Canary, So to that I say Rorschach really has nothing to bring to this game, but there is so much in-game evidence that it just seems so likely. It's impossible for me to brush this character aside. And now we're going to get to our number 1 slot. Okay, so this is Neo from the Matrix. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, this character has more evidence in Injustice 2 to be in Injustice 2, or Matrix references. There are more Matrix references than there are references to anyone else on this list. Let's just start out with the fact that in terms of his playstyle, I've never seen the Matrix movies, but every fight he's in could exist within the Matrix, and every fight with Neo probably could make the gameplay of the character you're playing as and the enemy, it could shift everything. The possibilities are completely endless. There are tons of things you could do. Probably things that we've never seen in a fighting game. I haven't seen the movies, but I could only assume that if every fight took place in the Matrix, when you play as Neo, crazy things we've never seen before would probably happen. So not just that. Let's start out with the fact that Catwoman's super move is literally a shot for shot, or not shot for shot, but Catwoman's ending move where she jumps off the motorcycle and it explodes and she lands in front of the screen is a literal shot for shot scene from the beginning of The Matrix Reloaded. I'm going to show it on the screen right now. Yes, they took Catwoman's super move and referenced the movie completely. They referenced the scene shot for shot. Well, 2 shots they did. But the thing is, that is nuts. And if that's not enough, the Joker has a clash where he says, to Firestorm, oh, you took the red pill. And then Firestorm's like, wrong Matrix. I'll show a clip right here.
You must have swallowed the red pill.
Completely different Matrix.
And there it is. And just for fun, this has nothing to do with Injustice 2, but in the show The Flash, last week's episode, the characters Cisco and Gypsy are, they're like getting ready to to do it, in like his bedroom, and he has a Matrix poster on the wall. And now the thing is that the Matrix poster, it gets a weird amount of attention in the scene. The scene starts out, and the camera is on the Matrix poster, and then it pans down, or tilts down. I'm sorry, and then later on, what happens is Gypsy's dad shows up and destroys the poster. He shoots a shot and destroys the poster, and then there's a shot that shows the Matrix poster on fire. And so, to me, I was like, with all of this Matrix hype for Injustice 2, with Neo possibly being in the game, that weird little Matrix poster thing, like right before Fighter Pack 3's reveal, even though this has nothing to do with Injustice 2, that to me seemed like very weird timing. Because I know a lot of people who play this game also watch the shows. So, like, that kind of seems like a subliminal kind of thing, where it's like, oh, hey, here's the Matrix poster, and then here's Matrix in this other game. I've taken a lot of psychology classes in college, and that's the kind of subliminal messaging that seems to be somewhat effective. Put something somewhere else, and then when you see another thing later on, you have memory recall of that. So put a Matrix poster in a show that people watch. And then when you reveal your character for the Matrix and Injustice 2, they say, hey, where have I seen the Matrix before? Or where have I heard of that before? And that whole thing has to do with memory recall. And I think that Matrix poster has like no reason to be there, unless it's like sort of pointing towards something. Now, it might just be something in the show, but based on all the evidence I've talked about from Neo, and he is a Warner Brothers owned property, The Matrix, so there's no issue there. But yeah, he just seems the most likely based on all the evidence I've talked about on everything. There's just a lot of evidence, and he seems like he would fit right into this game. I mean, it fits better than Hellboy. I'm still not convinced that Hellboy was a good choice for this game. Until I see, his extensive gameplay on Hellboy, I'm not convinced that he was a good pick for this game. I think any of these characters I've put on this list would probably fit better. Even the Marvel characters. I think even then they have something in common with the DC universe. But anyway, that's going to do it. This was kind of a long video, a little bit longer than I expected. I know my longer videos kind of tend to not get as many views, and I didn't want that to happen with this video, but in any case, there you go. There's my top 5. So I want you to please click like, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, I already told you to please click like and subscribe. That's going to be it. Keep on fighting. I will see you in the next video, and have a fantastic day.